My name is Venkatraman and I'm the Chief Running Evangelist of U2 Can Run. And as part of the several initiatives that we do to promote running, we also have come out with this trainer's logbook. The trainer's logbook helps to capture the best practices that are there in respect of recording the fitness and health evaluation criteria of trainees. So this logbook is meant to be purchased by trainers, and one logbook per training. The logbook incorporates the best practices of ACSM, American College of Sports Medicine. It's published by us. It is reviewed and approved by Dr. Contractor of Exercise Science Academy, and it is priced very reasonably. It's just 50 rupees. We don't make any profit on it. It's basically cost to cost. Uh, the the earlier webinars have covered in the initial aspects, and today we come to what I would call as the meat of the matter, which is a fitness assessment form. In this, we will have this entire form done in two pieces. The first piece which we'll cover today will be the theoretical part, which I can do like this across the screen, and then later on, the fitness assessment we would actually do it and demonstrate to you, which we will do it later. So let's take the fitness assessment form. It's called section C here, and the first column is name, which is obviously the name of the trainee, and the date is the date on which you're doing this fitness assessment. Type of assessment number. So typically there would be an initial assessment. The way the logbook is designed is that there would be one initial assessment and three follow-up assessments. So basically one assessment every quarter, four in a year. So first will be the initial one, and then there can be follow-up one, follow-up two, follow-up three. So that is what you will fill in here in the column type of assessment number. Uh, Before the test starts, there are certain pre-test conditions. You must tell the trainee that he must not have any heavy meals in the previous 4 hours. So before coming for the test, there should be no heavy meals. Typically, morning coffee, it may be a fruit or a banana is the ideal time. If you are training somebody in the morning hours, then this is the best time to do. Or it can be a little bit mid-morning, or it can be early evening. So typically avoid the post-lunch kind of situation. So abstain from heavy meals for 4 hours. Abstain from very heavy exercise for 24 hours. So no physically tiring workout, because we want to test you. You should be fully rested. You should be able to give all that you got to for able to do this. And lastly, no coffee, nicotine, tobacco before this exercise, at least 1 hour before, because we don't want our results to be skewed by those chemicals. So those are the pre-test conditions. Inform your trainee about these pre-test conditions before he comes, so that he is not caught unawares and your day is not wasted, and his day is also not wasted. As soon as he arrives, there are two tests that you need to take, which are called resting measurements. So if the trainee comes to you, there are two things. The first is the resting heart rate. This resting heart rate will be slightly different from the true resting heart rate, which one you should encourage your trainee to capture immediately after getting up. So trainee has slept for the full night, he's had a nice peaceful sleep. What is his heart rate as soon as he gets up? You can do that by the typical test, which is to measure the artery behind your ears, or the cardiac artery on the pulse, the radial artery on the pulse, or today technology is there. There are several apps on smartphones which the person can measure his resting heart rate by either putting his finger or by staring into the front camera of the smartphone. So either way, the resting heart rate which he gets up in the morning is one, but you will measure his resting heart rate when he arrives to you. This is necessary because we want to be sure that the trainee is fully rested and that he is not super excited about things. He's not anxious or he's not slept well. We want him to take this test in a very calm and composed manner. Then next is the BP, the blood pressure. There are two ways again. One is the old, one with the mercury and the bulb, and the other is that nowadays we got many electronic ones that automate this process. I myself prefer using a electronic one. The results, some people say, are not accurate, but nowadays they are as accurate as they can be. And if this is not accurate, then the manual method suffered from an accuracy of the doctor or whoever is taking the measurement, being faulty in his reading. So I prefer the electronic one. It's portable. You can take it wherever you want to go, and it's kind of easy to do it, and it gives you a very reasonably good reading. So take his resting heart rate, take his blood pressure, see that they are within normal range before you start the test. If the BP is too high, if his resting heart rate is too high, either allow them to cool down. If it doesn't happen within 10-15 minutes, cancel the test, call them for another day. If they are on medication for BP, ensure that they have taken the medication for the blood pressure. If they are not on medication and the BP is very high, then tell them to come another day, take again blood pressure, tell them to take another day. Do it over 2 or 3 days to see that you are not getting a erroneous reading. And if it continues to be high, then refer them to a doctor. Do not continue with this test before that. Okay, so that are the two precautionary things that you have to take before they start the test. Next test that you do is there are 5 things that you test, and they're called the body composition. What is the composition of the body? The first is weight. Weight, have a weighing scale, take it in kilograms. See that you take the weight in a consistent manner. Encourage all your trainees to take it, like first thing in the morning, immediately after bath, immediately after the run. I myself would like to take my weight immediately after I come back from a run, because I know that I've done my morning ablutions, I've gone out for a run, I am as lean and as this as possible. I don't have any excess body fluids in me, and I like to take that weight. So I consistently take my weight after I come back from a run. Encourage your trainees to take regular weight, but for the purpose of this test, ensure that they are wearing only exercise clothes, no shoes, no heavy metallic stuff on them, no chains, no kada, no heavy watches. Tell them to take all that off, and no wallet, and just tell them, just take the weight. So that is the weight, record that in kgs here. The next is the height. Ideally, if you have a measuring thing, measuring wall height, measuring thing. But if you don't have that, you can measure it by putting a foot ruler above the head. But make sure that there are 5 points of contact. Make them stand against a wall. See that the back of the heel, the ankle is touching the wall. The butts, the glutes are touching the wall. The two shoulder blades are touching the wall. And the head, the back of the head is touching the wall. See that they are touching the wall. They are absolutely erect. Shoulder blades are erect. Put a foot roller on top. Make a small mark and then measure the height, so that you know that you are measuring the height in a fully erect way. The third thing is to measure their waist in inches. Tape waist around the navel. So the point around the navel, the tape should come on the navel, and that would be the waist. It would be just above the iliac crest, the sharp bony point above the hips. So it will be above that portion above the iliac crest around the navel. So measure the waist in inches, measure that. Now that you have got the height, weight, and the waist in inches, you can come to two derived numbers. The first one is the body mass index, BMI. The BMI is the weight of the person in kg divided by the square of the person's height in meters. So if I'm 154 centimeters, it's 1.54 meters. So into square divided by my weight. So my weight is about 60. This is about 1.654. So 1.54 into 1.54 square, and my 60 weight, you divide by that number, you come to a certain number. That number is typically 18, 19, 20, 25, 26, 28, 30, in this range, 30, 35, in that range. This range has an interpretation. Below 18.5, the BMI is below 18.5, it means that the person is underweight. If it is between 18.5 and 25, it means the person is normal in weight. If it is between 25 and 30, it means that the person is overweight. And if it is above 30, it means that the person is obese, which means grossly overweight. So from the BMI, which is basically a function of the weight and the height, you can tell whether the person has got a weight that is appropriate for his height. There are a lot of people who criticize body composition. There are for and against arguments, but stick to BMI. It's a very nice measure to have. You can use that as a guide to slowly bring the trainee down. As his weight keeps dropping, his BMI will come dropping, and you will know that given for his height, his BMI is in the ideal range, overweight range, normal range. It's a very nice number to know what is your BMI. The last is the waist height ratio, which is a little bit more simpler measure. It just measures the inches of what is the waist and what is the height and does a ratio of that. So these are the 5 measurements that you will take to determine the body composition: the weight, the height, the the waist in inches, and from that those two derived numbers, one is the BMI and one is the waist height ratio. Write them down, share them with your trainee, let him know where he has started his training, set a goal for him in terms of his weight, how he should reduce his weight, and how he should reduce his waist inches, and you can monitor the progress. So thank you very much for being part of this webinar. Uh, Please buy the book, go through it, listen to all the videos that I am recording for you. Feel free, if you are live here and you are viewing this live, if you type questions, I can see them on the left. Feel free to type questions. If you're seeing this on a later part of the day, the recorded version on YouTube, then please do write comments down and I will be very happy to answer them to you. Whatever it is, I hope that you train your trainees well and your trainees have the benefit of buying this logbook and incorporating the best practices in terms of recording, informed consent, their survey and their assessments as they go along. Thank you very much for spending this part of the day with us. Thank